What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing a tier list for KRULEBOYZ. Oh man, I'm playing this year, so let's get into it. Okay, let's go. We're going to work these down. So my S tier is going to be auto include, always want them no matter what type thing. A tier is going to be they're very, very good, but not auto include. So depending on the list, I suppose. And then B tier is like they're fine. C tier is they're rubbish, and D tier is going to be like unplayable. So let's start. I don't think much of it's going to be unplayable, but let's start Bolt Boys since they're first on the list anyway. Bolt Boys are awesome. They are A tier. Don't think they're auto includes. They are very, very powerful though. So here's their war scroll. So Manskewer hasty shot, 12-inch range, hitting on 4s, wound on 3s, 1 ren, 2 damage. Or the one that's more likely to be used is the hitting on 3s and 3s, 2-2. These are both crit auto wounds. They get +1 if they don't move. So with the Manskewer crossbow, you're hitting on 2s and 3s. If you take these guys in your general's regiment as well, which is what I do, you're effectively hitting on 2s and 2s. Obviously, when you're attacking their general's regiment. So 1 shot each, take them reinforced. So that's 6 shots, hitting on 2s and 2s, ren 2, damage 2 apiece. Really, really nice. And they're also a brilliant candidate for your dirty trick, the sneaky sneaking. Yeah, the only reason they're not ST is because I do think you can play without them. If they're crit mortals, I think they would be S tier auto includes, and I will always have some in my list, but I don't think you have to play with them. So yeah, who we got next up? Maya Brew. Ooh, Maya Brew. Definitely not on auto include. I don't even think he's A tier. I think he's B tier. He's B tier, I think. I've tried him in a few lists. I really wanted him to do well because he's such a cool model. But he's just too expensive for what he does, I think. Yeah, he's 220 points. They break a boss. 5 attacks, 4s, 3s, 1 and 2. He's a 12 health monster, so he is good. But he's 2 control score, which is stupid for a monster. He should be 5. I think that's ridiculous. His Breaker Harness is good, so you allocate D3 damage to yourself, and then however much damage you do to yourself, you get extra attacks on the clubs, which is his best weapon, so that's good. But he's got no ward. He's a 4-up save. He's 220 points. He just doesn't seem to be worth it to me. Like I said, I've tried him a few times, and he's good. He's not bad by any stretch. He's not like a terrible unit. His rampage is fine. Got to be against, obviously, something with low health. It's got to be infantry, so they're going to be low health. So usually you're picking off one model in a block of 20 or 30 or whatever. So not the best. Like I say, he's not bad by any stretch. I just haven't been able to make him work properly in my lists. So that's why he's there. Let's do someone who is 100% always in your list no matter what. My little mate, Swamp Shaman, however you want to say it. In my opinion, he's an auto include. So he's a 1 cast. But if you give him one of the artifacts, I forget which one it is, Swamp Staff, it's either an artifact or a thing of power, whichever one. He becomes a 2 cast. He's a +1 wizard. So while he's got his little pot grot, he's a +1. If you roll less than a 4 on a spell, though, you lose the pot grot, and then you lose your +1. His staff is irrelevant. He's a 6-up save, which is annoying. He hasn't got a ward like almost everything in this army. Doesn't move very far, and his controls too, but none of that is important. what is important is he's a 2-cast wizard on a +1. And even more importantly, he's infantry, which means you can teleport him. So if you're going to be under threat, you can teleport him out of there. A lot of people like him as the general for that reason. I tend to like the vulture as the general, but I'll get into that later on. Yeah, he's very good. Our spell law is decent. I take Crown Spine. He's good at casting that because it's +1. And if you get him on a place power, you know, you're +2. So yeah, he's good. Also include, I take 2 in my list generally. If I had Gobsprack, then I would take just the 1, but I would still take 1 for the +1. Yeah, can't go wrong. Love him. S tier, all day, every day. Let's do this guy, the Gnash Tooth. Definitely not S tier. Definitely not A tier. Maybe B tier. I don't think he's as good as the Maya Brute. C tier. I think he's C tier. I think for his points, he's just not worth it at all. I ran him my first few times, mostly because I really like the model. The model's great. I painted him really well, so I wanted to run him and I wanted him to be good, but he just wasn't. Now he doesn't look too bad on paper. 10-inch move, which is really good. 10 health, decent. 3-up save, that's good. Well, that's all good, right? He's control 2. Fine. You know, whatever. Now, his passive is quite good. You get the +1 to hit rolls, but it's wholly within 12. Now, really, what you want to send with this is reinforced gut rippers. You want 20 gut rippers, all them bodies on. But getting them wholly within 12 is quite difficult. And then the control score's fine. Add 3. But again, he's 220 points. And for that, I can take 2 units of monster killers who are going to do far more for me. It's more bodies on the table. It's more wounds. It's more control. It's more everything. It's more damage. His attacks are fine. 3/3s, 1/2 crit mortals. They're not. The only time I'd ever consider even putting him in a list is if I was running whatever the one that's called where you get crit 2 hits on companion weapons, and I was just stacking out as many companion weapons as I could. But other than that, while he's 220, monster killers are 110, or bolt boys are 120, I would rather have more bolt boys or more monster killers. It's just he's just not worth the points. Similar to Maya Brute. Maya Brute's better in my opinion though. Hobgrots, D tier. Don't even think about them. What a waste of time. Great models, 100 points, but just meh. There's just no reason to take them. Again, the same thing. They're 100 points, but for 110 I can have monster killers, or for 120 I can have bolt boys. 8-inch range on their range weapons, 1 attack each. 4s, 3s, 1/1. Shooting combat, that is nice because we don't have anything that shoots in combat other than these. The melee weapons are meh. The scrap bang. So this is quite nice. Pick an enemy unit in combat, roll a dice on a 3-up, inflict 1 mortal wound on the target. This unit can immediately use a retreat ability as if it were your movement phase without any mortal damage being inflicted on it. That's really, really good. The problem is it happens at the end of the turn and they're so unsurvivable that they're dead. So they don't get to do it. If that happened before, if that was like a combat ability that happened just before you fought, that would be great. 100 points, 6-up save, no ward, 1 rend and it's unsavable. So basically everything that attacks you, you can't save against. So you never ever survive. So you're dead. So you don't get to do that thing. So no good. Gobsprack. D tier. No, I'm joking. He's not D tier. He's not C tier. He could be argued for B tier. He's not S tier, but I'm going to put him in A tier. He's 400 points. Well, 380, close enough. And that's what makes him less usable. I don't think he's an auto include. It's situational. If your opponent is running a lot of wizards, brilliant, because he's all about that life. 14 health, 12-inch move. The 12-inch move is the big thing here, but you can get that with a vulture boss, so that's not too much. 5-up save. Okay, he's got a 6-up ward. 5 control. His weapons are actually pretty good. So 3 attacks, 4s, 3s, D3, anti-wizard, so you get the +1 rend and your crit mortals. Again, killer beak talons, your anti-wizard, so your +1 rend. They're all nice. His big thing though is passive. Mork says no. So every time you unbind a spell, you inflict D3 mortal damage on the caster. If the unbinding roll was 10 plus, you inflict D6. That's nice. The D6 is nice. His once per battle is going to be a 3d6 unbind. So a lot easier chance of getting your 10. So far more chance of getting your d6 damage. If you've got a wizard on the ropes, and you want to finish them off, or if there's a spell that you could really do without going off, you know, that's in your back pocket. But it is a once per battle, so it's not the be all end all. His combat phase ability is quite nice. You roll a dice if it exceeds the target's health. One model is slain. You get to do that every turn. Again, go hunting for that wizard. If you can find a wizard that's got 4 or 5 health, it's worth rolling the dice and seeing if you get 5 or 6 and just whipping them off the board. His War Scroll spell is not the best, I don't think. You roll a number of dice equal to the target's health characteristic, so a maximum of 10. And each 4 up, you inflict 1 mortal damage. It's the maximum of 10 that ruins it for him. I think that should just be whatever its health is. I think if you're going against a Gargant, you should roll 35 dice. Then maybe he's worth his points. Or max it out at 20 or something, but 10's it's not enough, really, I don't think. It doesn't make it like, I need to cast this every time, I want this all the time type thing. Do I put him in A or do I put him in B? We'll put him in A just for the Gobstrack fans. Vulture Boss, on the other hand, is better. We're going to put him in the middle. If the start is the best and then as it goes down, it's worse. He's definitely better than Gobstrack. Okay, so different bird. 12-inch move are the same, 14 health, but he's a 4-up save, which is nice, but he doesn't get the ward that Gobstrack gets, so that's fairly close. His attacks are pretty decent. 5 attacks, 4s, 3s, 1, 2. Crit mortal. 7 attacks, this is a nice one, but you don't get the crit mortals. 4s, 2s, 1. 2 damage again. The Vulture Stinger is decent if it spikes, but if not, the problem with D6 damage is, you know, it doesn't always thingy, but it's D6 mortals, which is nice. So his commanding view, it's never come into play once. As we'll find out in a minute, the Gut Rippers don't chill with him, they go somewhere else. If you redeploy Gut Rippers within 12 inches of him, the minimum is 4, so you're always going to get 4. That's nice, it's good, but I don't think it should be within 12 inches. It's got to be bigger because it's useless otherwise. But the one you're taking for is Vulture Dive, 100% of the time. It's just good. Whatever your charge is, whatever charge you roll that many dice when you go in, and for every 4 up, you do mortals. So, for example, though, I had a 3-inch charge the other day in a game, and I rolled a 4, so I was in. I had 1 command point left. And I re-rolled it, even though the charge was successful. I re-rolled it, and I rolled a 9 on the charge, which meant I rolled 9 dice instead of 4. It was worth it. I killed the target I was charging. Add on to that if you give him Slippery Scumbag, which you should always give him, in my opinion, on a 3-up, he retreats out of combat in the combat phase, and that's his full move, so 12 inches. So you can charge in, do all your mortals. When it comes to battle, before anyone attacks, roll a 3, out you go, do it again. He's great for capturing points for the exact same reason. Use that Slippery Scumbag. You can't have Slippery Scumbag on Gobstrack, which makes him subpar straight away. So yeah, catching objectives. If you've got an objective with a guy in between you and the objective, you can charge that person. Then on a 3-up, retreat towards the objective, capture the objectives that way. His utilities Really, really good. He's good for power through because again he's got that 12-inch move. I really like him. He's quite expensive, 290 points. So yeah, 290 points, but he's very good. Is he S tier? I don't think he's quite auto include, but he's very, very good. Maybe that makes Gobstrap B tier. Gonna have to drop him down because the Vulture is just much, much better. Gut Rippers, they're S tier. Auto include. And I'm going to do these at the same time. So the unnamed Sluddraker, Snatcher Boss on Sluddraker, they go together like peas and carrots, as a Gump would say. Gut Rippers is your basic infantry. He makes them very, very good. 2 attacks each. Always reinforce them as well, so you got 20. The 2 attacks each, so it's 40 attacks, hitting on 4s and 3s. No rend, doesn't matter. We don't care about the rend. 1 damage, not great. Crit mortals. That's good. You've got on a 3 up, you're -1 to hit against non-heroes, but still, that's good. That's every time you battle, 3 up, -1 to hit. But these become good when we add in Snatcher Boss. He's a buff piece. It's 14 health, which is nice. 8-inch move, pretty decent. 4 up save, pretty decent. His attack profile's fine, it's good, but it's not why you take him. You take him for Sluddraker Venom. So on a 2 up for the rest of the turn, you add 1 to the damage characteristic of the target's weapons that have crit mortals. Back to our Gut Rippers, that's them. That's your target. You put that on them. Now that means they do 2 damage. So it's 40 attacks. Any 6s is 2 mortal wounds. But you add into the fact our Dirty Trick, Venom encrusted weapons. Now you're doing mortals on a 5. So you give the Gut Rippers Venom encrusted weapons and Sluddraker Venom. That's 41 attacks because you're champion. 41 attacks, every hitting on 4s, which is fine. No rend. 5s and 6s is 2 mortals each. So on average, you're going in doing about 20 mortal wounds, which is awesome. They can do a lot of damage. So them two together, they're both S tier. They come together, and this is why you never get to use the retreat thing, because the Vulture Boss goes one way and these go the other way. So these always stay with that Snatcher Boss because that's who buffs them. Killer Bow, situational, because if you've got a bunch of monsters, it's great. If not, it's fine. 24-inch range, which is really nice. It gets that +1 if it doesn't move, same as the Bolt Boys, which is again really nice. 2 attacks, 4s, 2s, 2 d6 damage. +1 rend if it's a monster, crit auto wounds. But if it is a monster, you do the damage. For the rest of the turn, damage is 6 if the target's a monster. So instead of d6, it's just straight 6. So if you hit both attacks, that's 12 damage on a monster just from one thingy. Great. If it's not a monster, though, it's very, very swingy. It's only 2 attacks, so you can quite easily fail it. It's fine. Like I say, situational. If there's a lot of monsters, but if I can have this or another 3 Bolt Boys, I'll take the Bolt Boys. Let's see how much they are. They're 160 points. Bolt Boys are 120. I'll take the Bolt Boys over this almost every time. The other one, Swamp Boss Scumdrack, stick him in D tier. Useless. Never gonna take him. So he basically buffs Hobgrots. So Hobgrots are useless, so I'm not taking them either. It does make them better, but still not great. It gives crit mortals to the Hobgrots, which they should have anyway. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made by the Hobgrots. So again, it makes Hobgrots good, but not good enough that I would take them over other options. It's not unusable. Belcher Banner. Okay, Belcher Banner. Power of Kragnos is nice. It's a ward in an army that really struggles for wards. Not got a lot going on there. But again, it's wholly within 12. That's hard to sort. He only moves 5 inches. You can teleport him because he is infantry, so you could teleport him to whatever it is that you need. But again, our teleport is within 3 inches of terrain, so you're limited. And if your enemy zones you out, it's I just don't think the wholly within 12 is good enough. If it was 18, maybe he would be more considerable. Breath of the Mire Drakes, any combat phase, pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit. Roll a dice for each target. On a 1, this ability is no effect. On a 2 to 5, you inflict 1 mortal damage on a target. On a 6, you inflict D3 mortal on target. Nah, it's fine. Not enough for me to take him though. He's a drop on his own, which is just no one's taking him as a drop. Like, it's just what if he was, I forget what they call it, a mob wrangler, I think it's called, where you can put him in another hero's regiment. He was only 120 points, so actually points wise, I would use him. But I'm not having a drop for him. And we need to petition Games Workshop to make this guy a mob wrangler so that we can throw him in with another hero. Monster Killers, I think they're an auto include. Okay, Monster Killers, 7 of them in the unit, so not the 10 that you get with Gut Rippers. 2 health, so slightly less wounds. 3 attacks each though, so comparable. But they've got rend, which is nice, and then the +1 rend if it's a monster, so you 2 rend on a monster. They've got crit mortals. These are another good target for your Snatcher boss on Sluddraker. Again, 2 damage, and then give them the venom and the critting on 5s as well. So if you run out of Gut Rippers, these are another good target. The only reason they're not as good is because you can't reinforce them. So this is always going to be a unit of 7. So you're going to be on 21 attacks or whatever it is, or 22 because of your champion. 22 attacks instead of the 41 attacks that you're getting with a reinforced Gut Rippers. But if your Gut Rippers drop down lower than these, then, you know, it's worth buffing these instead of buffing your Gut Rippers. Add on to that in any combat phase, you can pick an enemy monster that you can combat with, roll a dice, and on a 3 up, that monster strike last. If it's damaged already, it's a 2 up. So what I like to do is use my Bolt Boys, put some damage into a monster before these go in. Then once these get in, on a 2 up, they strike last, and then these do all their work. It's beautiful. And again, is good. Tough Grot to Swallow. Basically, when a monster does a rampage, if you're within 6 inches of these, they roll a dice. On a 2 up, it doesn't do anything. On a 1 though, you take the Clutcher Grot away from the battlefield, and then you don't get to do it anymore. Brilliant. You don't even have to be in combat with it. 6 inches away. So 2 up, says no. See you later. Auto include for sure. Oh no, I don't think he's even usable. It's too expensive. I like the idea of this to some degree. He's 190 points. 190 points. This on the march is, or on the march, is the one that makes him sort of tempting. Now, by wholly within 12 inches of this unit, infantry can use charge, even if they've used run. So basically run and charge. Again, it's wholly within 12. I hate wholly within 12. It's hard to get a unit of 20 Gut Rippers wholly within 12. And they're the ones you want to give run and charge to. So maybe not worth it. Just I've not used him. So I can't say he's for sure terrible. But I don't know anyone else that's ever used him. I've never seen him in any play in 4th edition. Don't think he's got enough going on to maybe C tier. Run and charge is nice, but Fragnos. Well, let's do this guy first. He is our only guy that's a mob wrangler, so he can go in other heroes' things. He's 130 points. 4 up save, not bad. 5-inch move. Army standard. 6 health. 5 attacks, 4s, 3s, 1, 2. Crit mortals. That's quite nice. 4s, 5s. Crit mortals on the Shiv, that's alright as well. Okay, Stab Grot. You can no longer attack with the Stab Grot Shiv. Okay. Once per battle, any army phase, any combat phase. Pick one of the following effects. Pick an enemy unit, inflict D3 damage. Rubbish. This unit has ward for the rest of the turn. Okay, you're taking that, obviously. After resolving either effect, remove the... Okay, so once you do one of them things, Pot Grot's gone, so you don't get to use the Shiv anymore. The all-out attack is nice. But again, wholly within 12. There's a theme there. Wholly within 12's a pain in the ass. Add one to wound rolls for the rest of the attacks. That's nice. I have never used him in my lists. Maybe I'll have to give it a try for that. +1 to wound is nice. He's only 130 points. Yeah, that's a hard one just because I don't use him. So we're going to put him in the B tier. He's definitely not auto included. He's definitely not 80. We'll put him B. He's probably in with these guys. And then Kragnos, old Ender of Worlds, End of Empires. His stuff's great, but he's expensive. He's a very expensive boy. He's 680 points. He's expensive. 680 points. But 4 up save, 5 up ward, so he's pretty survivable. 10-inch move, which is nice. 18, 15 control, which is awesome. His attacks are good. 6 attacks, 3s, 2s, 3 rend, 4 damage. That's a beast. Most people, that's going straight through. 3 rend. Tusk breaker, 3 attacks, 4s, 2s, 2 damage. 2 rend, D3 damage. Crits is 2 hits. That's pretty nice. And then the hooves, 3s, 2s, 1, 2. So reaction, opponent declared a spell ability. If this unit's picked to be the target of that spell, you roll a dice. On a 3-up, you ignore it. So if they try and do anything, roll a dice. No. 3 says no. Not happening. His passive is, if he's automatically destroyed, a bit like the endless spells, if he would be automatically destroyed by a big spike of damage, instead of that, you just allocate 6 damage to it. You can't take any wards. That's nice. His big one, his big passive is the End of Empires. Add 1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for friendly destruction units while they're wholly within 12. Wholly within 12 is annoying, but you would force it for a 3d6 charge. It's not as bad as all the other passives because you don't have to be wholly within 12 whilst in combat, because if you've piled in around stuff to get all of your guys into combat, you can often be outside of that 12-inch. Whereas if you know you're charging, you can clump up, get to within 12, 3d6 charge, and then you're off. So the 12, wholly within 12 isn't as big an issue for that as it is for the other stuff, in my opinion. And then it's once per turn. If this unit charges phase, pick one of the following effects. Roll a dice for each enemy within 1 inch of this unit. On a 2-up, inflict an amount of mortal damage equal to the roll. That's fine. Or pick an enemy monster. This is the good one. In combat with this unit and roll 2d6 on a 7. This ability has no effect. Only a 7 though, not below 7, just a 7. Otherwise, you inflict an amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the results on the dice used for the 2d6 roll multiplied together. So if you roll 6 and a 6, you roll, it's 6 times 6. As we all know from school, 6 is a 36. So potentially you can spike 36 damage. So there's not a single monster in the game that you can't kill just by charging it with Kragnos. But you've got a spike. So if you roll, I don't know, 2 2s, you're doing 4. So didn't do a lot. But it's swingy, but that spike is straight up. I think because he's so expensive, he's not B tier. He's not down here with these. But he's definitely not an auto include. And I've never even included him in my army because he's so expensive. But I bet he's brilliant to play with. I will have to do it. He's either the best in B tier or the worst in A tier. We'll put him in B tier. Just because of how expensive he is, I don't think he's getting lots of play. Me S tiers, I don't think there's any cause for debate there. Shaman, 100%. Gut Rippers, definitely. Sludge Raker, definitely. Monster Killers, definitely. Maybe there's an argument for the Bolt Boys to be up there. They are in every one of my lists, to be fair, but not necessarily in the amounts that you'd be like, I need loads of Bolt Boys. I've got to get them in there. There's plenty of lists that you could play without them, but I do like them. A and B tier, there's probably some debate there. B tier, I don't think there's... Maybe some people might be like, well, the Nash Tooth, look how good he is. He's so survivable. Maybe there's an argument there. D tier, I don't think there'd be any arguments. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Am I right? Am I wrong? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. And catch you in the next one.